In this third video on the subject of OpenProject and how to use it as a scheduling and planning tool, we will talk more about resource leveling, slack time adjustment on the non-critical path, and task crashing on the critical path. But let's go back and look at a few other features, I should say, of OpenProject. The first being, if you click on the schedule button, it shows you in gray what are the non-working days. If you decide you do want to make certain days working days, for instance, you're getting behind schedule, you can click on the day, such as June 26th, and you can call that a non-default working day with hours of 8 to noon and 1 to 5. With 1 hour for lunch, it becomes an 8-hour workday. You can click on any days you'd like to do that for, and one by one you can define which now suddenly become work days instead of off weekends. Of course, in the real world, you might pay premium time and a half overtime pay in order to work those days, but you have to weigh the good with the bad as far as meeting your schedule date at the expense of paying more money for premium overtime. So it depends on the environment that you're working in. I'll cancel this because I don't want to change my schedule by showing those as working days in the schedule. Another feature of OpenProject is that in order to show more on the screen, I can zoom in and zoom out rather than having to scroll constantly to the right here to show my scheduled tasks. I can zoom out, which means I'm getting more on the screen here so I can see more of what's going on and all the overlaps and the predecessors and the red critical path versus the blue non-critical path. OpenProject is very useful in being able to identify this very easily. Another feature that I will expand the bar out here is I can click on resource names or any other column for that matter, right click on insert column, and I can select other features that I want to display, such as earned value, ACWP, or in this case what I like to do is show percent complete, so we can use this as a tracking tool. So I go down here to the P's and I find percent complete. Click OK, so it adds that column. Now when I go in here and I want to show where we are along the way here, I can say, okay, clear site, 75% complete. I clicked 750 by accident, so let me put 75 instead, and a black bar gets drawn 75% of the way through that task. Then I come to task 2 and I say that's 10% complete. Task 3, let's say it's 55% complete, and as a result, as a reporting tool to management or just for myself to track where I am, I can now see what percent completes. I can identify it, print them out, and show where I am on the project. Let's look at resource leveling and viewing for a second. If I come down to this button on the left here, which is my resource view, it shows me all the tasks that the excavation team, for instance, and that was the reason for identifying these resources by name up front so that this program could actually sort tasks depending on resources. It'll show me all the work that the excavation team is responsible for. If I scroll to the right here, starting the week of February 14th, I can see that how much work they're getting done, or along the top here it's added up, and as you can see it does ramp up and fluctuates slightly, but if you notice, there are no gaps. The way we set up this project originally was that the excavation team, with all the heavy machinery, heavy equipment that they would use, would go from site to site and get their work done, but the subcontractors would be brought in just for individual tasks. So if you notice, we successfully have accomplished that because the excavation team is busy non-stop with no gaps, using 1 or 2 people. Of course, we didn't really identify how many people are on the team. We could obviously do that in this tool very easily, but what I wanted to show was that their assignments continue from February all the way through October 2011. And if you look at the concrete team, was the other stipulation up front. One of our immediate requirements that we identified was the concrete team would be level loaded also, or at least not gapped at all. So what you can see here is that this team is busy going from project to project until all 3 stadiums are completed. And then of course there'd be additional projects for the Sharon Construction Company. Now the electrical team we weren't so concerned about, so we purposely, I'll go back to the beginning here, when they come on board they get done the lights and the scoreboard. Let's expand this out a little bit for the first stadium, and then they're done. They go back to whatever construction company they work for because they're only a subcontractor. And then they are needed again for the second stadium, and then they're completed, and then they are needed again for the third stadium. That's the same with, if you go backwards here, the turf team right here. They come and go and finish one stadium at a time, and they have gaps because they're a subcontracted task. That is the same with the steel team and the carpentry team, which does the dressing rooms and the painting and all the finishing work. They have surges of work as subcontractors. So as you can see, this tells you very quickly where the workloads are and how your resources are allocated.